Perfect. Right. We welcome Sanjana. I was just thinking, is she coming? And we've got lots of lovely students joining us now as well. So we'll just give it another minute or two and then we will get started. Okay, I make that just after 10:30, so we'll get started. I am recording this session, so as long as it's all right with Bashir and Sanjana, then I will share the slides and the recording afterwards. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name's Claire. I am a careers consultant working at Exeter, and I am very lucky to have been given the job of supporting Indian students at the university with their careers. And as part of that, I've created kind of a series of workshops and online resources that are kind of designed especially for you, and hopefully to give you some inspiration about how your future might pan out. So today, this is what we're going to do. I am going to just talk to you for a few minutes about the help that is available to you at Exeter to do with your careers, because quite often Indian students don't fully understand what we have to offer, and it's a bit different from what you find at universities back in India. And then Sanj and Rashir are going to introduce themselves. I'm going to do some asking questions. I've got lots of things I want to know about, and then it will be your chance, the students' chance to ask any questions you want to ask. So let me first tell you a little bit about Career Zone and the help that we offer. So all of our students, whatever program you're on, can come and meet with a careers advisor like me and have an appointment or several appointments if you need them. And that might be to do things like give you feedback on your CV, or to explain to you about the kinds of jobs that are available in the UK, or to help you feel more confident about interviews. There's lots and lots of help that we can give you in a one-to-one appointment with just you and one of the staff at Career Zone. We also run absolutely heaps of workshops, so they are they're never more than an hour, sometimes they're only half an hour, and they're on all kinds of different things, from how to pass a video interview to how to do psychometric tests. Some of our workshops are run by employers to advertise kind of the jobs that they have. Some of our workshops are based on helping you develop skills, so things like your leadership ability or your ability to negotiate, and they're all advertised on Handshake. We've got loads of online resources, so if you haven't got time to come and see us, or you want to find something out in the early hours of the morning, you can look online and you can watch videos and read articles. We've got tons of stuff. And then I already mentioned Handshake. Handshake is our careers platform that has all of our workshops on it, but it also has jobs, so part-time jobs, internships. It's got graduate jobs and graduate schemes on it. And it's quite a nice platform because it also allows you to talk to other graduates from university, as well as talk to employers. So it's definitely worth having a play around with Handshake if you haven't yet. We run our own internships at Exeter, and that's quite unusual actually for a UK university. So what we do is we create internships on the campus, and we also speak to local employers and we create internships with them as well, and they're all paid. So we don't believe in work for free. And they are either designed for you to do alongside your studies, or they're designed for you to do full-time at the end of your degree programme. And the really great thing about our Exeter internships is they're not as competitive as the more widely advertised ones. So what that means is you've probably got more chance of getting one of our internships than you have kind of getting one that's advertised nationally. We can help you to find part-time jobs. I know that earning some extra money is quite important for a lot of our students. And then we have a range of different kind of schemes to help you become more employable. So for example, this is just one of the ones that I've picked, but we've got a scheme called Ask an Alum. And what it means is you might come and tell us that you'd love to speak to someone who works in consultancy at EY, and we will have a look and see if we have any graduates who've said that they'd love to help our current students, and we will give you their contact details and you can have a conversation with them. So we actually run lots of things like that, mentoring and other ways that you can get work experience on campus. So when I send the slides around, it is worth following the hyperlinks and just finding out a bit more about these things. I just want to tell you really quickly what I can't do, or any of my staff. So UK Career Services don't get student jobs. We don't make recommendations. Recommendations is fairly unusual actually in the UK. We can't give you a list of employers who are going to offer you work. That's because in the UK, we've got really strict laws around fairness when it comes to offering people jobs. And what that means is everybody has to go through the same process to apply for a job to make it fair. That's why we don't do recommendations, and that's why we don't have lists of employers who will definitely take Exeter students. We'd get in trouble with the law if we did that. We can't write your CV for you, and that's because we'd be very, very busy if we did that. But also you need to be able to change your CV for different jobs. So what we will do is teach you how to write a good one, but we won't write it for you. And we can't tell you what the best job is, or who the best employer is, or what the top salary is, because best is a really subjective term. My best is different from your best, and also there's huge variety between industries and between different cities in the UK. So it wouldn't be morally right for us to tell you, because best is a difficult kind of concept to find. And then kind of finally, just to tell you a little bit more about India Career Ready. So there is an online programme of resources that tells you lots about jobs in the UK, tells you some information about writing a good CV, what UK employers want. So there's lots of useful stuff on that online programme. But then there are these kind of 5 workshops which I run. The Express Help is really just me telling you kind of what I've just told you now, but also answering any questions that you have. And then the other ones are me really kind of teaching you about working in the UK, getting experience and impressing UK employers, creating really good UK job applications, and then about kind of going back to India and how you might talk about your studies and what you've gained in the UK to make sure that you get the most benefit out of your UK education. And actually I'm going to talk to Sanj and Rashir about that a bit today. So I think that's enough of me talking. Rashir is actually at work today, so isn't able to get a camera, but I can hear him, so I know he's there. So I'm going to ask Rashir to introduce himself, and then Sanj to introduce herself afterwards, please.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Actually, sorry, it's afternoon here. Thank you, Claire, for this opportunity. My name is Ruchir Agarwal, and I am currently in my second year of managing my family business. I graduated from Exeter in 2018 with an undergrad in business and management. I then went on to do my master's at the University of Bath, where I did a master's in innovation and technology management. And currently, I'm overlooking all the quality and innovation aspects of my business. Also, I'm coming up with a fresh greenfield investment. So you could ask me questions related to project management and stuff like that. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell, and happy to help you all out.
Thanks, Rashir. Sanj, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Sanj, and I graduated from Exeter in 2014 with a degree in management with marketing. After that, I worked for a bit after coming back to India. And in 2015, I started my own digital marketing company. So it's been about 6 years. I'm currently in the 7th year of being an entrepreneur, and it's been quite a journey. Yeah, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions about starting your own business or seeking work experience, or just anything in general about how you can settle back down in the work environment in India after studying in the UK. Any of your questions at all.
Thanks, Sanj. So I am going to hit you both with some questions, and then I'm going to get the students involved. So I guess one of the things I notice about working with Indian students is that a lot of students would like to stay in the UK. And obviously the both of you have kind of gone back to India. And I just wanted to know a bit about kind of how you decided that, or why that happened for you, and what the kind of benefits are of going back to India. So Sanj, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so for me, I always knew that I wanted to start my own company, and India actually has a very, very healthy environment to foster entrepreneurship. And, I think it's easier to start your own business over here just because of how often that happens. I also do come from a family of entrepreneurs. So I think for me, that was one of the main reasons I could come back here, is because I know people who've done that. Even though my company and my business is entirely different from everyone else in the family, I did have that support system in terms of the legalities of starting your own business. So that was one thing. And the other thing was that I always knew that I wanted to bring a global perspective, a lot of what was taught at Exeter, and implement it here in India, in my home country, and help other companies over here grow. So that was my main two reasons to come back to India. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Any thoughts from you, Rashir?
Well, something similar to Sanj actually. I really wanted to stay back for a couple of years in the UK, gain some practical experience working at a Westman firm, if I would put it that way. But those opportunities sadly were not coming towards me. Like Sanjana said, that she always wanted to come back to India. That was also a primary target in my head, but it came relatively sooner. And it's been a good experience settling back from the cultures, what I learned back in the UK, and trying to execute them here in real life as well. So I would say I'm a happy man today, no regrets.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Well, have there been any kind of challenges in, coming back as a student that was educated in the UK? Have you found anything difficult about being back in India, either on a personal level or a professional level?
Nah, I don't think so. Not faced anything like that.
How about you, Sanj? Any challenges?
Yeah, I think for me, there was even a greater challenge because even the school I went to in India is an Anglo-Scottish school. So the culture itself was a bit different than what is there in the country itself. So that was definitely a struggle. And I felt like there was a bit of a cultural shift. Also, after being in the business school at Exeter and everything working very differently, working with people from all over the world and then coming back and working with people who maybe set in their own ways, that was a struggle. And also, I think just being a female entrepreneur, irrespective of where you are, that in itself is a challenge that you face, especially when you're starting up your own company and you don't really have any other partners and you're young. It's very hard to be taken seriously, and you really do need to put in twice the amount of effort in asserting your views and asserting yourself, and making sure that you come across and are taken very seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that kind of whole gender thing's an issue. I'm not sure there's anywhere in the world where it isn't still a bit of an issue. But I could talk for hours about that, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hijack it. So
Yeah.
my next thought is that from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand is that Indian universities have really come a long way in the last kind of 10 or so years in terms of the quality of education that they're providing. And whilst once upon a time you could say a UK qualification was far superior, maybe that's not as true as it once was. I mean, do you think that UK education still provides a really strong advantage back in India?
Well, I think it does. Well, yes, now the courses, there are a lot more offerings in terms of what's taught at universities in India. But I still do think what's unique about an education in the UK is the fellow students that are there. They're from all over the world. It's not just home students. You have a mix of international, European, and home students. And I think just learning from your own peers and exchanging those ideas, that's what makes the entire experience unique, rather more than just what is taught in the course at university. So I think that that's something that still holds a very, very special and strong place, because you learn so much and you grow so much from your peers. And even till now, sometimes if I need ideas or if I want to do something different and I feel like I'm very stuck in my ways over here, I will probably go and talk to a friend of mine from university who's living somewhere else, and then I get a unique perspective on it, and that's definitely something that helps you grow. And that's a very, very important thing, especially with how fast-paced life is around the world. And I think post-pandemic, the world has gotten a lot smaller. So, you can be sitting anywhere and working with anyone anywhere. And I think when you have had that sort of exposure of interacting with people from different parts of the world, that definitely puts you at an advantage compared to most other people.
Mm. How about you, Ruchir? What kind of advantages do you think that it's given you?
Well, basically, Sanjana rightly pointed out that the interaction with people from different cultures and different backgrounds definitely puts you at a stronger advantage. Um, I would like you said that education in India, higher education in India has advanced really strongly. I can vouch for that because I was at a campus last week doing some on-campus recruitments, and I was shocked that they were having ABB robots, all the facilities and equipments available with them at their disposal, and children were actually using it. And that was something last I'd seen back at Exeter or Bath, and never in an Indian college I've seen a working robot or those kind of facilities. But in terms of the advantage, like I said earlier, that you get to interact with people from different cultures, it broadens your thought process. That okay, there can be other perspectives and other ways of how you have to deal with the situation, and not just that way. Also, I would say there's this common tendency amongst Indian people that to be very, very competitive, because I was very competitive before I came to the UK. It teaches you that you have to be humble as well at the same time, because it's always not the right way, or it's not always getting to the first position over there. Because someone getting, I think, if it was around 80% or plus, you get on the dean's roll or something. Everyone gets that, but in India, if you score 100%, that's only when you're recognized. So those were the main positives or the advantages, I would still say, for me as well.
Are there kind of any ways that you can describe? I'm just thinking about, you know, the students here who are listening and who may go back to India and, you know, might speak to an employer or people they want to do business with who haven't heard of Exeter before, or don't understand what a, you know, what a UK qualification kind of looks like. I mean, what do you think the important things to kind of tell are about studying at Exeter? You know, how can you kind of describe how you would stand out against, you know, home students in India?
I would say that you definitely need a good amount of work experience, be it a form of an internship or a part-time job, anything. It does not have to be related to your degree. I remember in my first year, I was working as a games room host for a escape room in Exeter that had just opened up. It was a startup for them as well, for the couple who had started it. And I didn't know what an escape room was. So it was something new for me. And I just took it for fun. But that fundamentally taught me the basic skills for life, or basic skills to do business, that you need to be punctual, you have to be responsible, you have to have a good work ethic, you need to be interactive with your customers. Those were the core skills I learned there. So if you're able to express those skills that you've learned at Exeter, I'm sure that would be more presentable to the employer, rather than say, oh, I've studied from the University of Exeter. Because that person could be like, oh yeah, I have a person from IIM Indore, or IIM Gujarat, or IIM Ahmedabad, which they would say it's as comparable to Exeter. So I would say it's more on the skills rather than saying it's just the degree. That would be my biggest advice.
Yeah, that's really helpful, Ruchir. And I think, you know, there are some really good skills that are quite unique to, you know, UK or to Exeter. We were chatting a little bit before the students arrived, and you were saying about kind of the power of group work and kind of having to work in small groups or even larger groups as part of your course. Sanj, did you kind of find any learning like that, you know, that developed your skills while you were at Exeter?
Yeah, I think, you know, I unfortunately had a very bad experience with group work in my last year, where I was the only English speaking student in that group. And, you know, a lot of the students, for some reason, their English wasn't the best. So it was very, very difficult to discuss group projects with them. And I think that is definitely been one of my biggest challenges in terms of how I can put across my ideas and, you know, delegate and divide the work. And also, most of them were very, very shy, because I felt like they found that I was speaking too fast. And so I also had to take a step back and, you know, be more patient. And I think at the end of it, thank God the project was successful, but at the end of it, I did learn a lot more about being patient, about, you know, working on different ways to communicate, maybe even just say the same thing in different ways so the other person understands. And, you know, it's not just that. I was also a volunteer at Freshers Week, you know, also just dealing with new students coming in, you know, settling in at university. I think all of these things taught me a lot of compassion and empathy. And that's been quite the strength at work for me. I feel that when you work with other people, you are at the end of the day working with people. And so while, yeah, there are a lot of goals that need to be met and there are a lot of deadlines and a lot of like budgets that need to be kept in mind, and things can be like quite a time and pressure, combination. But at the end of it, you need to learn how to communicate with someone well, whether it is with your employers, whether it is with your peers, whether it is with, say, your clients, you know, and that in itself is a unique strength, which I do not know if it is necessarily nurtured in India. That I think that's one thing that makes it unique, because also when you do all of this at university, it's like you're interacting with people from different cultures, you have language barriers that you need to deal with, you have cultural barriers to deal with. So all of that just helps you understand things more uniquely, so.
And so,
Yeah.
okay, so you did some helping out in Freshers Week, and Rashir, you had a job at an escape room. What other things did you do while you were at university outside of your studies, and how have they helped kind of career-wise?
Well, basically, I was part of the archery club, I think, in the first year. And then I also took up rifle shooting in the second year. I've always had a thing for target sports. So I would say, well, that's just helped me focus more overall. As well as in the second year, I was part of the Asian Society. So I was the events coordinator for that. That's basically taught me my people's management skills, because I had to basically interact with the university team as well as our internal team, along with the Hindu Society. And we also had an after party after that event. So managing all of those kind of things was my biggest takeaway from there. And yeah, interacting with people, I'm very, very shy and introverted, to be honest. But definitely being at Exeter, the largest takeaway would be that I've overgrown that fear.
Yeah, I mean, confidence. Very few of us, I think, are born that way, and it is something that we, kind of work on and grow, and definitely gets easier with more practice. So that's great. Any other thoughts from you, Sanj, on extracurricular stuff?
So in the first year itself, during Freshers Week, I signed up to be part of XTV, and I think that in itself was such an incredible experience for me. By the time I got to the final year, I ended up being an XTV news producer, so that was fun. I also had the opportunity to stay back during one of the holidays and be part of the NASTA 40 team, because we were hosting it that year. So, these things were just wonderful. And I think to a great extent, my confidence was nurtured and improved upon because of all of the work I did with XTV, including the presentation, or whether it was about, helping out with the NASTA 40, or, writing links for XTV News. All of these things have also helped me in my career. I also volunteered a bit with WAG. So that in itself is quite a fulfilling experience, and you just get to learn and understand so much about so many different issues. And I think that definitely when you're at that age, it gives you this sort of awareness of how the other half live, or what problems people face. And that is such an important thing to do. I think, I could have very easily just gone by life and been very, very ignorant and entitled. But, these things definitely helped me have a much more well-rounded experience. And, when you're at university, it's also one of the most crucial years of your life. And I also did volunteer on and off with the guild for various events. So that in itself has been wonderful. I mean, I'd encourage everyone, just go and volunteer different events with the guild, because not only do you understand how all of these events are organized, how they work, you sort of also get an understanding of how you need to organize all of these events when you're on a very, very, very tight budget. and how you sort of put together your different resources. At times you just like make deals that are more like a trade or a barter system more than anything else. So, you pick up tricks of the trade by doing all of this. So these are things that I would encourage people to do for sure. And of course, like I didn't really join any sports club, but I used to go to the gym, and they have so many classes. So I don't know if that's happening at the moment, but they're a lot of fun, and you get to meet people from a different place. I remember, I think the first time I met someone from the Arabic school was over there, and then we ended up after doing our box fit class, we ended up having like drinks together, and then we just like spent the whole evening together, and it was just a lot of fun, and just like understanding how different, like how the languages school works, and it's just and again, like all of that is because I've done all of those other things, so I had the confidence to just go and hang out with someone I just met. So yeah, I think I just like encourage people that do whatever activities you can. If something intrigues you, go sign up for it, go inquire about it. It could just end up being the best opportunity that helps you in your future.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to grab those opportunities, haven't you, when they come your way. Did you do any job hunting in the UK, Sanj, or was it kind of very clear that you were going to go home? Did either of you try and find work? What was that like?
So on one of my trips down from Heathrow to Exeter, I'd bumped into someone who was working at McKinsey at the time, and I think he was looking for someone to join his team. And we ended up talking, and he, in fact, was like, "Why don't you send across your CV?" And I'd talk to my team and everything. And while that did happen, what I realized was like I was not really interested in that job, and I don't know why it was a very informal sort of application, because I sent the CV and he just sent me the whole application process thing to do. And while that probably would have worked out eventually, at some point, I just like emailed him and said, I don't know why I've just applied. Like, this is not something I'm interested in. Like, I'm very interested in something very specific, and this is not what I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean, I never really, even though I attended all of the employability events, and I connected with a lot of people. I did everything I had to, and I got the Exeter Award at the end. But I think for me, because I had so much clarity in terms of what I wanted to do, I didn't really seek out too many opportunities, or any opportunities for that matter. But what I did do was go and talk to all of my lecturers, discuss my plans with them, discuss that this is the direction which I think this is what I want to do in my life, my career. And I got a lot of advice from them that still stays with me till date. I still have a good relationship with my marketing lecturer from then, and I do occasionally send him off an email and update him on what's happening in my life, and at times I'll just like ask him for advice. And I think what I just tell people is that if you're unsure, just talk to people. Just talk to people that you look up to. Talk to people who you think might turn out to be great mentors. It doesn't have to be helping you in a job application, but just in general in your career, you could get a lot of advice from people like your lecturers, or just even in the career zone, you can just go and have a chat with people, and they're more than happy to just be a sounding board for you. So I've done that once or twice, and I've just gone, and at the end of it, I've just like come up with my own solution to all of my questions. So yeah, sorry, I think I just like went a bit off track from what your question was.
You didn't at all, Sanj. There's two kind of things that you said there. One was use your lecturers, and I absolutely agree with that. The other thing that you said was kind of about networking, and how networking in the UK, even though we don't do recommendations in the same way, networking is still super powerful. And you can meet people that will tell you about a job, or they will tell you inside information about the company, or they'll explain the job really clearly for you, so that when you do apply, your application is much stronger. So I think that's really, really good advice. Ruchir, have you got any tips or any kind of advice about finding a part-time job, or kind of anything about finding work in the UK that might be useful?
Yeah, so basically, I was on the placement course at Exeter, the 4-year one, where you work the business management with the work experience. So I applied for nearly 55 jobs as part of my placement year applications, and I got a call from few of them. My first call was from Accenture, and I made it to the final round. What my biggest takeaway when you're applying for a job in the UK or be it anywhere would be research about the company. Okay. Without the research of the company, you do not know what you're getting into. Research about the job profile, because job profiles vary. You might be a quality executive, but a quality executive can be doing 10 other things as well. So research on the job profile. Tailor your CV according to the job profile and to the company. Okay, demonstrate those skills, what is required for the job. You might be a good speaker, you might be a great team leader, but maybe the job requires you to be a doer or maybe work individually. So try to enhance those skills over there when you're presenting your CV and your covering letter. Sanjay rightly pointed out that it's always good to have someone to mentor you. So maybe it could be a favorite professor, or it could be a colleague, or it could be someone in the year above you, because there's so many people around you who you could connect to on a personal basis. So that would definitely be good. And then, yes, definitely there's the employability team at Exeter. They're the best guides and gurus to this. So you should definitely reach out to them. I remember I did a couple of mock interviews with the careers team as well, because when I got my feedback for Accenture, I was a couple of points short of their scoring level. Also, it would be good if you could research about the recruitment methods, because every company has a different method of recruiting on the final stages. So when I went to Accenture, it was my first job interview in life, and I went without any preparation for of how it was going to be. So it was basically they informed me later, much later, when I asked them is that who's going to be hired here, and they told me that either all of you could be hired, none of you could be hired. It just depends on if you meet our scoring criteria. And that so I just like to elaborate here. When I went there were 6 people. The oldest guy was 28 over there, and he was applying for the same job as me. And when he told me he was 28 and he had done a master's degree and he'd worked at a company before, I was like, there's no way they're going to hire a 19-year-old like me. Why would they want to hire me? And that's when I got scared, and I was like already taking a back seat. So don't let all of those kind of things affect you as well. And yeah, so out of the 50 jobs also I applied to in my second year, those would be my biggest takeaways when you're doing that. And yeah, that's that from my end.
That's some really good advice, Ruchir. And you know, if you want more detail on those things, you know, check out our workshops, or book an appointment to come and see one of us in Career Zone. We can help you with those things. So I think I have run out of questions that I want to ask you. So I'm going to open it up to the students that are here. So I am happy for you to either unmute yourself and ask a question if you want to, or you can type a question in the chat. So, you know, both Sanjay and Ruchir have said that they're happy to talk kind of about their businesses, their kind of skills, or you can ask them things around, you know, kind of career advice, or kind of general things that we've been talking about already so far. So does anyone want to ask anything? I'm more than happy for you just to, we're all grown-ups, you can just unmute yourself and ask. So any questions?
Hi Sanjana, hi Ruchir, and hi Claire. Grishma this side. I have joined the MSc program in International Business and in the January session. So, Sanjana and Ruchir, my question is to you. So, I want to understand that you or probably had something in mind that you want to do the business, but somebody like me who has come here to settle down, I want to understand that how many of your friends, specifically Indians, if you had any, or international students that you were in touch with, how many ended up getting a job there? Because you had a very straight perspective of coming back to India and doing your own thing. But somebody who wants to get hired, first of all, what are the skills that I should be, or any of us who wants to settle down, should be working on? And did any of your classmates, specifically international students, get any job there? Or gradually everybody had to go back, or any of the people that you are in touch with, how are they doing as an international person in UK?
So I'd like to answer this question in two parts.
Okay.
One, when Sanjana graduated, I think there was no extension on the 2-year visa, which is a new program. Okay.
Okay.
Neither did I have that opportunity. So we're
Mhm.
talking in two different timelines here.
Okay.
I think there have been relaxations from the home government as well in terms of the
Definitely.
criteria to get a tier 2 visa now. So
Yeah.
during our times, it was much tougher. So if you're asking me about the number of people who got a job in terms of Indians specifically in my batch, I remember there were 127 Indians, if I'm not mistaken. And I think around 10 to 15 of them got a job, not more. Okay. And if you're asking me how many of them have settled down permanently after that, I would say not a lot. Some of them have moved back home to India. Some of them have moved to other countries and developed on those jobs, or some of them have had job changes. And I can say one of my best friends today, or the first one I met at university, he says he's happy in the UK, but if he had the opportunity to do what he was doing there, he would do it at home rather than staying in the UK. Okay, so I hope that answers three parts of your question. And with terms of the skills, I would say the 1 year what you're going to spend at the university will teach you a lot of life skills of how you should settle down in the UK in terms of the culture, in terms of living there, how the rent system works, how the public system works. But in terms of employability, I think you said you're doing international business, so you really need to focus on how you communicate with people and how you're able to present yourself to the potential employers, because that is your first impression with them. And I'm sure you're smart enough and you have those skills naturally as with the business acumen. Depending on the job profile, you'll have to tailor yourself there. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Sanjana, do you have anything?
Yes. So I do have quite a few friends of mine. Some studied at Exeter, some studied at Warwick, and they are living there. But, again, similar to what Richard said, some of them have ended up specializing in things that are very unique and have not yet had much growth in India. Also, the friends that have settled down there have been brilliant, like brilliant another level. And a lot of them have, one of the main things about also just settling down over there is that I don't know about whether or not you have family or friends within the UK, but a lot of them also stayed back in the UK because they did have quite a bit of family that was living there for years. I've also had friends who've stayed there and not had anyone or anything and have felt very lonely and then just either moved out. Some of them have gone, and like I know one of my friends moved from the UK to Norway. So it really depends on the kind of experience that you're looking for. Also, in terms of the culture, you need to, if you are comfortable with the culture, that's great. That's also another thing you need to keep in mind. The work culture there is vastly different than the work culture here. The way people interact there are very different. Their priorities are different. And the level of competitiveness is also different. It's not more or less. It's just different. I feel like the competition level in the UK is a lot healthier. for a lot of reasons. And that's also something that you need to bear in mind when you start working there. Of course, like as Ruchir said, you need to just like develop and I would suggest that you make a plan as to where you want to end up going and then work backwards from there, so that you make a list of things that you need to do to achieve that goal of yours, whatever your dream job is, whichever city you want to end up in. So I would suggest that you make a plan. You approach the career zone, just careers team, talk to them about what all you need to improve upon in your CV and your skill set. Figure out how you can build upon that, whether it is attending workshops, whether it is attending networking events. Do all of that, given your best. And of course, like you have the advantage of the visa extension. So, and then at that point itself, when you get the job or you get an internship, you need to ensure that you give it your best, you prove yourself there. Because if you do excellently well in your internship, you can get approached for a permanent job, which is also something that most of my friends ended up doing. Is they ended up getting a permanent job, full-time job at the places they interned at. So that's another thing that you need to bear in mind and do. So, and work on your people skills, because that's something that is highly, highly appreciated in a workplace. So, yeah.
Could I just add a couple of points to this? Sorry, actually. So
please go ahead.
Don't be specific to the city. Like I know I was very, very adamant that I want to work in London, okay, as part of my placement here. That was my biggest mistake, I would say. So don't be specific that, I'm going to end up getting a job in London. I'm going to get a job in London.
Sure.
There are offices all across the UK.
Yes.
Your dream job might have 100 offices across the UK. I'm talking about the big four because that's where I wanted to work. I didn't apply to the smaller cities. The scope of getting a job might there be much, much higher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Point one being that. And I can vouch for this, like Sanjana is saying, that internships do get you a long way. My younger sister, she also studied in the UK. She got a placement offer from Deloitte, and now she's working full time with them. Another cousin sister of mine, she had a very, very unique course. She studied in economics and sustainability at Exeter. And then she went on to do a master's in the same at Bath. And now she's working with an environmental PR firm in Bristol. Okay. So you really, really need to keep your options open in this case. And also, if you're applying to places like the Big Four or any of those kind of companies, apply as soon as possible and apply as early as possible, because they really, once they get their required number of desirable candidates, the job is shut. So I also lost out on a few opportunities because of that as well. So bear that in mind.
Sure. Thank you so much, and Mr. Ruchir and Sanjana, for answering the question.
Any other questions? That was a good one, Grishma. Thank you. Any other questions from anybody?
Hey Claire, hey Sanjana and Ruchir. My question is, I have some years of experience from India. I'm currently studying Masters of Business Analytics here at University of Exeter, which happens to be only 1 year's course. So my question is, would that experience of mine in India help here in the UK, or would they be considering me as a fresher or something? I mean, the Indian experience to IT industry would help me or not, in a nutshell.
I'm just going to jump in really quickly there. And my answer, Ravi, would be that as long as you describe the experience that you've had in India in a way that translates across to whatever the job is that you're applying for in the UK, then it will have that kind of impact. And it also depends on the level of jobs that you're applying for. So if you're applying for what we would call graduate jobs, what you would call freshers jobs, then it will give you an advantage to have that experience, but it won't make you start on a higher salary or make the training quicker. You know, you'll start where everyone else starts. But if you're looking to apply for a job in the UK which is the same as the job that you did in India, you may have to kind of work hard to explain, you know, how it compares, and just check out that there are those similarities. You know, if you want to use your experience in India to kind of get a professional level job in the UK, that's what I mean. But I would probably recommend coming and having a chat with me, so that we can unpick all of that. So I don't know whether Sanj and Rashir, if you've got anything to add to that.
I think, you know, I agree with you, Claire. And also another thing is, like, probably whenever you apply for jobs and your interviews, you know, the way you put across your experience also makes a huge difference. You know, I think another thing that you also need to bear in mind is when you go and talk to your potential employers and you go in for interviews, make sure to also put across your work experience in a passionate manner, but also in sort of a bit fancy, well-packaged way. Because if you just say, you know, something very simple, you know, it doesn't have the same impact. So it's just a matter of, you know, if you're just gonna describe the weather and you just say, oh, it's raining today. But then if you go on and add a few more adjectives, or it's like the perfect weather to enjoy a cup of tea with your friends or something, you know, it definitely will have a better impact. So that's another thing that you need to bear in mind. You know, and all experience, I think, is good experience. You always learn from your experience, and that can always be utilized in one way or the other, whether it is just you know, things you've learned, or even if you've grown as a person through your experience at the job, you've expanded your skill set. All of that can be utilized. All of that is beneficial. You just need to learn how to put it across. And I think Claire can help with that, with just, you know, your interview skills and all of that.
Fantastic. Go on, Rashir.
Yeah, I just want to answer this question in the opposite direction. If you have some internship experiences in the UK and if you're coming to India, first of all, they do accept it, okay? But do not think that it'll be a massive advantage, like Claire rightly said earlier. It depends on how well you explain it to them, okay? Also, if you think that the degree is going to impact employers here by saying that, oh, I have a degree from the UK and it's going to give you a higher CTC or a pay package, mind you, it does not. It does not have an impact. A friend of mine studied in India. He did his chartered accountancy. Then he went on to the UK at CAS and he did his master's in finance. Worked almost for around 9 months in the UK and then came back to India to join one of the big 4 companies. His starting salary was still a fresher who would have graduated with an undergraduate degree versus the amount of experience or knowledge he had. Definitely, if you would have performed, and he's getting a higher package now, depending on your performance. But mind you that the parity remains the same anywhere you go, be it the UK, be it India.
Oh, okay. Point taken, Rachir.
Okay, we are at 23 minutes past 11, so I think we're going to wrap up. I'm sure some of you might have other things you need to do at past. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Sanj and Rashir, who've given up time from their busy jobs, and thanks very much for the students for coming. And yeah, I will send an email around with the recording and the slides. Is there any kind of last points that either of you want to kind of make, or anything you want to say before we end?
I think I'll just tell everyone that irrespective of what you decide to do, whether you want to stay in the UK or come back home to India, I'll just say that ensure that whatever decision you make comes from with right intentions. It's not about, you know, escaping from one place and going to the other. It's mainly about, you know, what you want to do with your life. Your career is a big part of your life, but at the same time, it is still a part of your larger life. So, you know, I don't want to be philosophical about it, but you just make sure that you have your priorities right. You know what you want to do in life, and whatever career you choose, wherever you plan on going, just make sure that you're happy in whatever you're doing. That's the most important thing.
I love that, Sanj.
Um,
Thank you. Rashir?
Yeah, so my message would be whether you're there for 3 years or for 1 year, okay? Make the most of your time. Definitely 3 years gives you a larger time span to understand who you are and develop who you are. But give it your best shot. And I would say there's no point in being disappointed if it doesn't happen, because things happen for a reason. And I was really disheartened when I did not get my placement here and I was shifted back to a 3 year course. But whatever I'm doing today, I'm happy and I'm enjoying it. And in the longer run, that's what matters.
Yeah, very nice. Lovely,
Thank you.
lovely words to end on. So thank you everybody for coming, and especially to Sanj and Ruchir. So yeah, I'm going to end the meeting, and I will be in touch with all the students with a recording. So thanks everybody. See you later.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.